Okay, hello. In this very video, we'll be learning how to smooth in the background so it looks seamless. Now, this picture was taken on a cloth background. This is a black cloth. Okay, and you can see the creases right on it. So we'll do frequency separation on this picture and smoothing this backdrop so it looks seamless like a paper background. So the very first thing we'll do is to run our frequency separation action. So let's do that quickly. Okay, so all we just need to do is just the basic frequency separation processes. If this is not your way of doing frequency separation, just do your best way and the way that you're very much familiar with, so you don't waste much time here. And if you have Retouch Academy, you can also use a Retouch Academy. However, for this very frequency separation, I'm using an action that I personally created. And if you want to know how to create actions, you should refer to our own previous videos that we've done on how to create actions yourself, frequency separation actions yourself, so you don't get stranded whenever you don't have the money to buy or pay for Retouch Academy. You can always do these things yourself. Okay, so what the tool I'm currently using is the lasso tool. As you can see, it's one of the selection tools. It has several functions, and I'm just adding to my selection. So by default, you don't really have adding to selection on your settings, so you need to come and add selection from here. And when it is adding to selection, you're going to see a plus sign under the selected tool. So you can see that this lasso tool, the icon, has a plus sign directly under it, meaning we could add to selection. And if you change it to subtract from selection like this, it turns to a minus sign, as you can see. So we'll just leave it on add to selection and continue. You can also use your shift key to modify it. So when you hold your shift key, it changes to add. If you hold your alt key, it changes it to minus. Alright, so let's assume this is okay for this image. We'll pick this place too. Pick this place. Pick this place. Mind you, for the lasso tool, there are other additional modifications. For example, it is feathered at 14 because of the size of this very image. So you should ensure that it is feathered to a level that is suitable for your image, so the edges don't become very sharp when you're done blurring. Okay, so let's assume this is okay by us. Let's assume this is okay by us. So the next thing we want to do is just to simply duplicate. So off this layer and then duplicate this by simply pressing Ctrl J on the keyboard, on my keyboard, and then I hold Ctrl and select that layer, and then come to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So I blur it to a level that it will hide all the textures on this very layer. So let's see what it would be like on 25, 30. Okay, I think 30 is okay. Go back to 30. So on this back and see what it looks like. Okay, if this is too much for you, you can reduce it, but I would want to go with this. Okay, I think we should reduce it a little. So come back, filter, blur. Let's maybe use 25. Okay. So this layer, remember, I copied it from here, so I merged the two layers together. Just merge, so it becomes one layer. I can now proceed to mix those areas that I couldn't use the lasso tool to select. So I will use my mixer brush, check my settings. You actually use the settings that are suitable for you. So just do this. So remember, while mixing, you only mix along the shadows or the highlights. Don't mix against. Don't mix from shadow to highlight. You only mix along either the shadows or the highlights. When you mix against, you're going to disfigure the shape of your subject or object, depending on the case or whatever you are working on. So you want to just take your time and blend every spot. But since this is not our target, excellent frequency separation is not really our target for this image, so I will have to just make do with what we have now so we can go straight to our target. So return this. We have a picture that is retouched already. Now what we want is to blend this background. So the next thing I want to do is duplicate the layer, this very layer. So I duplicate it and then maybe rename it to background BG. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to fill this layer of the subject and fill it with the background so it becomes a single background. So all I need to do is to select the image round. So once it's selected, I right click and fill and ensure that it is on content aware fill. Leave these other settings by default and click OK. Your system is going to fill it up, fill the selected location with the background. Okay, so let's see the outcome. I'm going to fill it up with the background. Now it is filled up already. So this is what we want to use. So we'll come right here and blur it such that all the blemishes on the background will be totally gone. So once we are satisfied, the next thing we want to do is we'll come over to the background and use either our object selection tool or lasso tool to select only the object. So let me use this tool, that's a quick selection tool, and select my object. So once the object is selected, I will just mask my selection from the background that I just created now, and it will give us an excellent image. So it selected it and I think it's fairly okay. I think our selection is good. So let me just subtract this with my lasso tool. So you can use any other tool that is suitable for you. So I'm using lasso tool. I'll use my lasso tool here to add this. In order to ensure that I'm not making mistakes, I would also want to modify the selections. You can use different strategies. You can select and mask. However, I want to use my select, modify, and smooth. So let me smoothen it maybe at 12. So let's look at the difference. You see that it's a little jagged, as you can see now, but it's smoother now. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to shift it a little, because I'm using a quick selection tool and sometimes it doesn't select exactly the pixels around the image. So I want to contract it a little. So we'll come to select, modify, and contract maybe by 1 pixel. So it shifts the edge. It shifts the edge. It shifts it inward. So let's see what we have. You see, it shifted it a little inwards. Okay, the reason is because I don't want to make mistakes, and I don't want to make assumptions that the entire pixels are selected, and I don't want at the end of the day to see errors because I used a quick selection tool. Now it shifted the pixel a little inwards. Okay, and we have this, so you can see it's a little shifted inwards. So I'll just go around the edges and ensure that everything is selected and correct it. So you take your time and ensure you have a perfect selection before you proceed to the next step. So I will just have to rush this, and if we have any error we might just ignore it, but however I think what we're doing is fair enough. So we'll add this so we don't have any challenge around the ears. Okay, so having done this, let me minus this. Having done this, so the next thing you want to do is feather, and you feather according to the size of the image. For this 3 is going to be okay because of the size of this image and its resolution. So I come back right here and then I mask this. Just click on your layer mask, it masks it, and then you just select the mask and do Ctrl I on your keyboard to inverse that mask, and there we go. We have our background is smooth. As you can see, it's seamless, right? It's seamless, and it still maintains the texture, the original texture of the background. The reason is because this very high frequency separation layer maintains the texture both on the face and on the background. So this is it. So this is how you smoothen the background of an image. And if you want to, maybe let's say the hair, for example, for females, you will discover that the hair is it's still concealed, so you can use this very mask. You can use this very mask. The hair is concealed, so if the hair is concealed, you use your brush tool to unmask the hair. So, but we don't really have that challenge here. So, but if it is there, you just use your black. So this, since the image is black, you change your brush to black and you unmask it. Okay, and if you want to do that, you want to use a lesser opacity, maybe 30 or 50 or so, and just unmask the little tiny hair. So there are several other ways. You can also use select and mask to do that and restore the hair. So this is it. I think we have an excellent image, so you can go ahead to save your image at this stage, and you are good to go. And if there's any additional thing, maybe dodge and burn, you also do that from here. So thank you so much. We've been able to get an excellently smooth background and fix the creases at this stage. Thank you so much.